Hello again and welcome to another edition of Southern Country. Hi, I'm Herb Southern. Welcome to the show, my friends. Today we're at the Miller-Cory House in Westfield, New Jersey. And Pat is here. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. We're delighted to have you here today.
Thank you. Richard, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine too.
All right.
Beautiful day.
These two people are going to tell us what's inside the house before we go in. Pat, what's in that house?
Well, this is a 1740s East Jersey coast cottage, very typical of the houses that were built in this area back in 1740.
And it's furnished 1740?
All of the furnishings in the house are authentic furnishings. They are not reproduction.
Okay. Richard?
I'm the greeter.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're greeting us, that's for sure.
You, and I greet all the people that come.
Okay.
And we have wonderful programs every Sunday.
Okay.
Except
what
during the summer.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing what's in the house, and maybe we'll catch a program too. Richard, we're in the Miller-Cory house now. Tell us about the Millers and the Corys.
The Millers and the Corys were the first owners of this house. Actually, the house was built in 1740 by Samuel Miller, and he lived here for 42 years, and I understand he had 8 children. At the end of those years, he sold the house to Joseph Cory, who also had 8 children. And this house has been in private ownership until March of 1972, when it was acquired by the Westfield Historical Society and became a museum.
This has never been anything but a private residence or a museum.
That is correct.
Ah, it's pretty interesting. A lot of museums go through other ownership I've been to, and finally comes back and they restore it, you know, but this has been private right through. Millers and the Corys have owned it the whole time, or other families?
No, there were other families that came along, and as a matter of fact, over the years it was modernized.
Okay.
And when it became a museum, we had to demodernize it.
Demodernize. Okay, Pat, what's unusual about this document on the wall?
This is called an inventory, and this inventory was written and filed in 1802 when Joseph Cory died. It's a extremely valuable document that we share with our guests on Sundays because it lists the entire contents of the house and grounds, and it tells us the type of lifestyle that these people would have led by the type of possessions that they have.
Unusual ones, Pat.
Unusual ones such as 31 brooms, no vacuum cleaners back then.
No.
It also lists the fact that when he died there were 3 pigs in his barnyard, how many yolks, and there's only one very fancy thing there, and it's a pair of silver buckles that a gentleman would have worn on his shoes for a dancing party, probably at Christmas time. These were simple farm families that had simple possessions.
I don't know how many people have 3 pigs on their inventory today.
I don't know.
Well, Pat, we moved on to the children's bedroom. What's so unusual about this room, and how many, you know, tell us all about it.
Well, this is our children's bedroom, and it's hard to believe in this world today, but 6 children shared this room. Not only the room, but the bed.
Wow. The
bed was slept in every night by 6 children, no complaining, and the mattress was not terribly comfortable. It was a sack stuffed with corn husks.
Oh, nice.
And rope springs, and if you woke up in the morning and you weren't happy about it and started to complain, no one listened to complaints. You might follow their suggestion of sleeping on the floor the next night. In our room we have many toys on the mantelpiece that we like to share with our guests. The children had very little time to play with their toys. 6 days a week they were occupied with chores on the farm, and it's the 7th day of the week, of course, they spent in church.
Exactly.
So there was very little time, but once in a while they would get together on a special occasion with the neighboring farm children, and then they could, you know, have races and contests and play with toys, roll hoops, whatever.
The toys were all handmade, of course.
Yes, they are. And the dolls are all made from either wood or dried apple faces. Some of the toys are movable toys. They were hand carved. The one toy that's particularly interesting is the one with Noah's Ark. It opens and closes like a scissors. And that was a baby's toy used on Sunday when you took your baby to church to distract them, keep them from crying. It had to be a religious toy to go into the church.
Wow. That's unusual. They don't have that today.
No, very different from today. This room also shows our guests the inner construction of the house, which is very interesting to our visitors. The wooden, the stones, excuse me. The stones are called nogging, and they would save and collect the hair if your dog shed. You would save his fur or horsehair or whatever and stuff it inside the stones to keep out the cold drafts. Then they made their own plaster. They were very close to Elizabethtown and the beaches, so they would gather the shells, grind them up, mix it with milk and water. Milk they needed in order to have the plaster stick together. Otherwise, it would separate. And then they plastered their own walls.
Very interesting. Well, my friends, there's another demonstration going on here, and it is Colonial Bedding. Christine is here, and she's going to tell us more about Colonial Bedding and what's in this room.
Well, today we're in the master bedroom of the Miller-Cory House in Westfield, and I've been explaining that when people had company, when important people came to visit, they brought them into the master bedroom. And the reason for this is that the master bed was a status symbol. If you had a coverlet such as the one on our master bed, which was made by a professional weaver, and very fine threaded linens with, count them, 4 feather tickings, then it let people know that your farm was doing very well and that your husband in particular was a very good provider to his wife and family.
Unbelievable.
It was also the place that they would bring the daughter's boyfriend in if somebody was in the bedroom, yes. And he would sit in the bedroom to visit to court with his girlfriend, with one of Sabra and Samuel's daughters. But they had a courting candle, and they were never, ever left in the bedroom alone. Mother or father had to stay with them. And the courting,
a lot of fun.
The courting candle could be set at different heights. If father approved of the young man, the candle was set at its full 8 to 6 inches in height. And the boy did not have to leave until the candle burned down to the candle holder. But if father didn't approve, he would set the candle at perhaps an inch.
He'd blow it out.
Well, almost. He'd set the candle height at an inch, inch and a half, and when it burned down to the holder, that boy better be out of there. So that's why it was called a courting candle.
Unbelievable.
Back then, the saying was, a full barn and a fat wife were the joys of a farmer's life.
Oh, boy.
And I think things have changed a bit.
I think so.
From then, yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Well, we're down here at the Frazee at the Miller-Cory House, and Pat, what is the Frazee and what's the purpose of it and what's going on today?
This is our Frazee building where we give open hearth cooking demonstrations every Sunday from March through to December, although we're closed in the summertime. The cooks have studied and learned many of the techniques, authentic techniques, to cooking over an open hearth. And as you can see today, we have many things underway. Lori, what's happening in the
What's going on?
reflector oven here?
Okay, in the reflector oven, my daughter Amy is making buttermilk biscuits, and I'm making a hearty vegetable soup. They would have only had root vegetables left at this time of year, so we're using a lot of potatoes and carrots and onions, dried corn. And along with the buttermilk biscuits, we also have English muffins, and we have scones, and we've made special butters, maple butter, because they would have made maple syrup at this time, and honey butter, because they have honey. And we have strawberry jam, because they would have made the strawberry jam in the summer and saved it through this time of year.
And somebody comes in here and eats all this up as you make it?
We take this stuff home except the taste treats that we put out.
Okay.
There's always taste treats.
It's pretty interesting. I tasted a biscuit before. Amy, you did a good job.
Thank you.
The biscuits are good. Yep. All right, we're wrapping up this edition of Suds and Country. Thank you, ladies, for being on Suds and Country. Appreciate it. Amy, thank you. Lori, thank you.
Thank you.
And, of course, Pat, thank you for being a great host here.
Well, thank you for coming and
It's our pleasure.
visiting our wonderful museum that we're very, very proud of.
How can they contact you here?
Well, our address is 614 Mountain Avenue in Westfield, New Jersey, 07090, and our phone number is 908-232-1776.
And you're open Sundays 2 to 5?
We're open on Sundays from 2 to 5, and then, of course, we'll close in June, or on the 13th of June. That'll be our last Sunday until September 19th, and we'll open after the summertime.
Very good. Thank you very much.